Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Montana Infomotion. I am so excited you're here. Tonight, I mean today, it just feels like a show. We've got a great one for you. We're talking about one of the most incredible, most powerful, most wet places on Earth, Niagara Falls. You think you know it, right? You've seen the pictures, maybe you've even been there, poncho and all. But there are secrets in that mist that will blow your mind. Today we're diving deep, not literally, that's dangerous, into 10 mind-blowing facts you haven't heard. Daredevils, survivors, secret caves, turning the whole thing off like a faucet. It's gonna be wild. Really, really wild. You won't want to miss a single drop, it's gonna be good. Before we start, do me a favor, if you love amazing facts, hit like. New here? Hit subscribe. Alright, ready? Let's get into it. Niagara Falls, here we come. Alright, first up, fact number 1. You look at Niagara Falls and you think, wow, that is a permanent, solid, unmovable force of nature, right? I mean, it's a giant cliff with a river falling off it. It's not going anywhere. Wrong, get this. Niagara Falls is actually moving. Yeah, it's moving. But not in the way you think. It's not packing up and heading to Florida for the winter. It's slowly, but surely, moving backward, upstream. It's like the world's slowest, most powerful moonwalk. Michael Jackson would be proud. So how does a waterfall move? It's all thanks to a little thing called erosion. You see, all that water, we're talking millions of gallons per second, is constantly pounding against the rock at the edge of the falls. Over time, that water wears away the rock layers, especially the softer shale and sandstone underneath the super hard dolomite caprock. Think of it like a cookie with a hard chocolate top and a soft, crumbly bottom. The water eats away at the crumbly part until the hard top has no support. Eventually, that unsupported top layer of rock just gives up. It collapses and tumbles down into the river below. And just like that, the edge of the falls has moved a little bit further back. For centuries, this was happening at a pretty good clip, like 3 to 4 feet every single year. Imagine that. Your grandparents could have stood in a spot that is now literally thin air over a raging waterfall. It's just incredible to think about the sheer power at play. Now don't worry, if you're planning a trip, it's not going to disappear overnight. In the last few decades, we've actually slowed it down a lot. Thanks to some clever engineering and diverting a bunch of the water for hydroelectric power, we'll get to that later, the erosion rate is now down to about 1 foot per year. So the falls are still moving, just at a much more leisurely pace. It's on a permanent, very slow motion retreat. Okay, fact number 2. When you think of the world's greatest waterfalls, Niagara is always at the top of the list, right? It's the big one. It's the main event. It's the headliner. So it must be the tallest waterfall in the world, or at least in the top 3, yeah? Nope, not even close. It's kind of like finding out that a famous strongman isn't actually the world's strongest man. He's strong for sure, but it's not his main claim to fame. It's a bit of a shocker, I know. Niagara's American Falls are about 180 feet tall, that sounds impressive, but Angel Falls in Venezuela is over 3,200 feet tall. That's like stacking 17 Niagara Falls, not even in the same league, height-wise. There are literally hundreds of waterfalls taller than Niagara, so why is it so famous? Why do millions flock to see it every year? The secret isn't height, it's mind-boggling volume. It's all about the water. An insane amount goes over those falls every second, more than 700,000 gallons per second. Enough to fill an Olympic pool in less than a second. A constant, thunderous, unstoppable flow. Not the tallest, but one of the most powerful. Famous for its width. Famous for sheer power. It's the combination of Horseshoe Falls, American Falls, Bridal Veil Falls that creates the massive panoramic spectacle. The heavyweight champion of waterfalls, not the high jump champion. Sheer force. Sound. Mist you can feel from a mile away. That's what makes it a world wonder, not a spot on a measuring tape. Alright, let's talk about daredevils. Because you can't look at a giant, roaring waterfall without someone somewhere thinking, you know what? I bet I could go over that. The first person to actually survive going over Niagara Falls in a barrel wasn't a young stuntman. It was a 63-year-old woman named Annie Edson Taylor. Yes, a 63-year-old school teacher. This was back in 1901. Annie was a widow, running out of money and wanting to become rich and famous. So she hatched a plan. She designed her own barrel, made of oak, reinforced with iron, and padded it with a mattress. I mean a mattress. Plummeting 170 feet into churning water. Wild. On her 63rd birthday, October 24th, 1901, she did it. They put her in the barrel, screwed on the lid, pumped air inside with a compressor, then pushed her into the Niagara River. The barrel swept toward the brink of Horseshoe Falls and went over. For about 20 minutes, everyone waited. They thought she was gone. Then they spotted the barrel floating downstream, pulled it to shore, opened it up. She was alive. A bit battered, a bit bruised, with a cut on her head, but alive. She later told the press she'd never do it again. Even with her dying breath, she'd warn others. She got fame, but not the fortune she hoped for. Her manager even stole the barrel. Her story is incredible. Bravery or desperation, you decide. Okay, this next one sounds like something out of a cartoon. You know, where a character just pulls a giant lever and a waterfall stops? Well, it actually happened at Niagara Falls. They turned it off. For real. Well, part of it anyway. In 1969, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers completely shut off the water flowing over the American Falls. The whole thing just stopped. It must have been the weirdest, quietest summer in Niagara Falls history. So why would they do something so drastic? They weren't trying to save on the water bill. The engineers were worried about erosion. They were talking about the huge pile of rocks. Talus. Talus had built up at the base of the American Falls from years of rock slides. They feared the falls could turn into rapids instead of a dramatic drop, so they needed to study the rock face up close to see if it could be stabilized. To do this, they built a massive temporary dam. It was called a cofferdam. It stretched 600 feet across the Niagara River upstream from the falls. It was a huge engineering undertaking. They redirected the river's flow over to the much larger Horseshoe Falls on the Canadian side, and for 6 months from June to November of 1969, the American Falls were bone dry. Tourists could walk right out onto the dry riverbed, a place that is normally a death sentence. It's incredible. What they found was fascinating. They mapped the rock face, they studied every crack and fissure. They even found 2 bodies from previous accidents. It was grim. In the end, they decided the cost to remove the talus and to stabilize the rock face would be way too high. Plus, the public liked the rugged look of the rocks at the bottom, so they blew up the temporary dam. With a roar, the water came rushing back. The American Falls were back in business. Imagine standing so close to Niagara Falls that you can feel the thunderous vibration in your bones, with a massive curtain of water crashing down just feet in front of you. You can feel the thunderous vibration in your bones with a massive curtain of water crashing down just feet in front of you. It sounds like you'd have to be in a barrel, right? But what if I told you there's a place where you can get behind the falls? This brings us to fact number 5, the Cave of the Winds. It's not a natural cave in the traditional sense, but it is one of the most intense experiences you can have at Niagara. The Cave of the Winds is located at the base of the Bridal Veil Falls, the smallest of the 3 falls right next to the American Falls. The name is a throwback to an original rock overhang that collapsed in the 1950s. But the name stuck, and the experience they've built is even better. You take an elevator 175 feet down into the Niagara Gorge. You're handed a poncho and special sandals. Trust me, you are going to need them. From there, you walk out onto a series of wooden walkways and decks to the base of the falls. The most famous part is the Hurricane Deck. You are standing just a few feet from the thundering Bridal Veil Falls. You're getting blasted with wind and mist like a tropical storm. The sound is deafening, the power is overwhelming, and you are going to get totally soaked. It's amazing. It's a completely different perspective than seeing the falls from above or from a boat. You are in it. You're feeling raw, untamed power up close and personal. It's sensory overload in the best possible way. While the original cave is gone, the spirit of it lives on in this attraction that lets you step behind the liquid curtain and experience the storm 24/7. It's a must-do if you ever visit.